Alright guys, let's talk about Tezos Art Ecosystem, and the main players are TEIA, former HicEtNunc, Objkt.com, and fxHash. But I wanted to give a little bit of a history so you can understand how this marketplaces should say, came about. It all started with Ethereum. I honestly think that Tezos ecosystem wouldn't be around had Ethereum had its problems. And the major problem in the heat of 2021, which is like the year of a bull run of NFTs, was the gas. I remember on Ethereum buying art pieces and paying a lot more for gas than for the piece itself. And that's the time when Tezos actually got its chance to build something and solve some of these problems. Other narrative that was around that time was ecological component of mining, which Tezos kind of like sold because it's a proof of stake blockchain. And the third element was Ethereum ecosystem was very kind of like permission based. If you're an artist, you actually had to apply to marketplace to prove that you're a legitimate artist, and then for you to accept it, and there was like a backlog. If you're an artist, you have to wait for several months. So all these problems kind of were piling up, and they had to have a solution, and Tezos solved them. That happened in 2021, the heat of bull market. The guy named Rafael Lima launches a website called HicEtNunc, which translates like here and now, and the dude is Brazilian. He 6 months received a grant from Tezos Foundation, and he was working on a project in that kind of like a domain. So he launches a website 1st March, and 2 major artists come in right away. It's a Quasimodo. I don't know if somehow they're related, maybe they're like Spanish speaking. And the second artist that came was John Correll. He was mainly driven by this ecological, rejection of Ethereum blockchain. So they come in, John mints his first iconic piece, Genesis Window, at 5 TES, which was sold later at thousands of TES. I personally bought my first piece on Tezos in April 9th, and that time was really fun because you don't have this gas problem. A bunch of artists come in and mint amazing art, and the prices were very, very low. I couldn't believe what kind of quality of art I was getting for that kind of money. They also had movements like Object for Object. I made a video about it in May, I believe, in 2021, where artists essentially would swap their art piece for free for some other art piece just for the joy of exchanging art. It was a lot of fun time. However, that fund started bringing in a lot of users, and those users started to using the website, putting a load on the servers, and it started to crack. And the main developer, Rafael Lima, from what I've heard him speak on the Discord channel and on YouTube live streams, is his problem. He was not willing to accept help from other developers, or kind of like hire more developers. He was very, very trying to get all the resources under his own belt, and that started to show, because sometimes it would go on a website, it wouldn't load, some features would take very long to develop, and that's the time when this other competitor called Objkt.bid launched. And they launched in July 2021 by brothers Brian and Timothy, and some other guy, his name is Victor, they found on Twitter. I believe they're all from Switzerland, but I'm not really sure. So they were frustrated with the experience they were getting on HicEtNunc, and they decided to step ahead and just launch their own website with 2 main features that were missing on HicEtNunc, which were offers and later auctions. They started using modern web technologies. They implemented distribution network where it would significantly speed up the loading time, and also the load of the assets, because those pictures or videos sometimes are quite heavy. So they did all that, and traffic started slowly to move from HicEtNunc onto Objkt.bid that time. They registered a new name called Objkt.com, and they started to really work on the website. Their new implemented features were amazing. Some of them are still only present on the website. One of my favorite features, for example, is a collection offer. It's like a global offer on collection, usually on a generative art, where you can put a bid. You just go and say, I will buy any piece from that collection on that specific price. That's an amazing functionality. They also have powerful history. You can search and sort it out depending on what kind of action you're looking for. Great accept offers features. You can have top, random, or manual offers accepted. You can use verified Twitter or remove duplicates. And to this day, Objkt.com is a top player in the Tezos Art ecosystem, and if you wanted to buy or sell any art, you would probably end up actually doing that on Objkt.com. As Objkt.com continues to grow and slowly absorb the market share, HicEtNunc and Rafael Lima, started to become more and more frustrated with the offload of the traffic and the frustrations of the artists who weren't getting the features that they would have wanted. So he slowly decided to, offload this task and just leave the website and give all of the rights, all of the code, all the keys to the community. And that's what happened. Community got all those assets and they named themselves TEIA. And that's what the TEIA.art website you're probably familiar with. And honestly, since then, there were not that much of a functionality development. From what I understand, are people using the website mainly to continue to mint their art pieces just on that contract. It's going to show up on TEIA.art and on Objkt.com because Objkt, as you may understand, it's implementing all other marketplaces into themselves, including fxHash. fxHash, it's another website that if you are serious about exploring art on Tezos, should know about. fxHash takes its kind of like a foundation from a website called Artblocks, again from Ethereum. Artblocks had a problem in 2021 where it would not allow all of the artists just come in and start minting. Again, it was kind of very closed, permission based. And that was the solution for Tezos website, and to just open it to everyone and come in and start minting. They launched in November 2021. Also kind of did the same thing as the Artblocks founder did. They minted their logo as their first art piece, and you can still, I guess, buy it. It's a squidgy version of Ethereum, but on Tezos. There are two amazing features of fxHash that I enjoy a lot. First one is that with generative art, when you buy an edition of it, you are getting a unique edition. Meaning that if you were, let's say, to mint, like a GIF on any other contract, and you would just sell it as edition, every other owner of that piece owns essentially the same thing. But with generative art, it's possible to make that each individual, kind of like they call them iteration, is quite different. So if you mint a piece that has, let's say, 1,000 of iterations, each collector has their own unique piece. And that's, I think, the biggest awesomeness about the fxHash website. Other cool feature is scheduling. You can go and see in advance which collections and which artists are going to be doing the drops on the website. One unique functionality of fxHash Marketplace is that you can, as a minter, like an artist, you can share the proceeds of all of the residual royalties for the specific piece with the first minter. Like the first person who comes in and decides to mint that specific piece. To the eternity, you can specify, let's say, half of the royalties, it goes to that specific person. I think it's a great way to encourage people early on, usually, to come in and start minting your art. There's other website that you may have heard about. It is called Versum, but to my opinion, it doesn't have any unique functionality. They're trying to say that they're building amazing user experience, and it looks like it's trying to replicate that fun and that look of original HicEtNunc website. However, it's just not as big or not as unique, I would say, as any other websites.